Hello guys and welcome to TFT Worlds Season 14, Day 1, Game number 4. Enjoy.
A chance to hit it, something like picking Wandering Trainer
Yep,
on 2-1,
absolutely.
hitting Anima, hitting Streak Demon, as if it was a Trainer Golem game, could have you in some way sneak out a top 1 that could really throw a wrench into everyone else's game plans in this game 4.
Something I want to see this game is maybe something we haven't seen too much on broadcast is Morgana reroll. And Robin Songs has that set up right now, the conditions that would show you, hey, I have a couple of these pairs, now I just need some tiers and some rods, and maybe we can pull this off, because it's something that can even win games.
Yeah, we saw from Cambuly day 1 win a game even without Blighting Jewel too.
Oh, look at that orb. They just dropped a Jax and a Morgana.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
I mean, if you're not going to be feeling enticed to play Morgana, then I'm going to be very surprised. Look at these shops, just absolutely blessing Robin there, saying very clear signal for you to maybe go down this route. But we're going to be checking in with Summertimer, a player that I found absolutely fascinating to watch. I don't know how you've been feeling, but to me, this is a player that has tried so many different comps, so much variety, a lot of niche rerolls where you're like Rengar, Jinx, Senna, Vayne reroll. That's not something we see too much of, but Summertimer was successful with them.
And we'll see what his mental looks like. 2 games in, he looked really hot. The moment he took that 8th last game, that kind of stopped all of his momentum. He has to come back. He's in a position still to make check in this game. He has pretty much everything in his hands to do so. We'll see what will be his option. If he wants to go for a combat on 2-1, which is less likely, or try and push for a little bit of extra econ on stage 2.
We have a couple of our players snap picking some augments. Cambuly taking Memory Bank, which is a Dynamo line as well, so possibly even contesting Robin on Morgana or just playing around the 3-cost Elise.
Some options still need to be made as well. As we look over Klikornen's shoulder here, rolls away the Nitro Augment. Does not want it, but has to consider which of these he wants to go for in the end.
Oh, very interesting. Too much value. You play this a lot into LeBlanc reroll.
Just to get max rolls here, no traits activated, but full value from his augment. Maybe full amount of rolls to then grief someone later on in the game if he's trying to play for a few points, but strategical advantage in this game 4.
Always a little scary if you are ending up playing something like the LeBlanc reroll where you're 18 points. The only thing you're trying to avoid is an 8th. So the Klikornen could find himself in a spot that's a little bit dicey, but I mean, there's also the tempo variation of it too. There's an angle for that where if we do end up seeing a small cash out using too much value as some more of like a flex board around strategist LeBlanc, there's a couple different ways you could play it.
Listen, I've been saying I don't want to see marksman. I think if there's a game where you play marksman, it's if you're one of the 18 points players right now, AQ1H and Klikornen, all they need to do is not go 8th to put themselves on check. Well, one of them is going to make it if the other person does go on 8th anyway. But I kind of want to come back to the memory bank you mentioned, CLE, because we saw a game where a player picked up memory bank as first augment yesterday. Panda is kind of making a little bit of a sad face there. Experience from EMEA, picked it up from a spot that wasn't too great. A lot in the Dynamo, if you are going down that route, is going to be depending on being able to win early on.
That being said, he does have a upgraded Morgana, so there is that in favor of Cambuly. Looking at waging boards here, similar to last game, he is not picking an augment that gives him immediate power. It's more going to scale perfectly into the late game with Spirit Link. So this is an augment that Waging is once again thinking, I'm on 12 points, I need a win to try and get into check now. This is the moment that I think he really tests himself as a player. Do I have the skill to get a win here when I want to? Probably does. He has to have the right mental. He has to not feel the pressure coming into this game 4.
And this is one of those spots for Cambuly that is a good memory bank spot. You have 3 Dynamo on your board already. And the way that augment works is the more mana you cast, the earlier you can get that cash out, which is an Aurora as alongside of Zanya's. And so having 3 of them on the board means they get more mana and they cast more because there's more of them to cast.
Checking in with Senbai here, already has a Graves with items that could be working if you wanted to go down that route. Also had the option to Pandora them, if that is what you're looking for, but I think he might just be saying, okay, you know, if I have a good spot for that Graves, if I get a couple more copies of him to maybe play around the Golden Ox, I shall do so.
This is the Graves master himself, the prophet from day 1 and 2 who made this Graves comp work so well. And this is a wide carousel.
Okay, Panda talked about this at the beginning. This is the treasure armory encounter. Panda said 20 gold gives you a very high chance, very high likelihood of getting one of those on the treasure dragon. And so the question is, which players are going to be playing for those spatulas in the pan?
Weijin and Zenbai both grabbing those. Weijin getting also a Cypher unit alongside that. He is playing around Spirit Link, so wants to lose and spike late and have that win out potential. And obviously playing around Draven and Cypher is the best way to do so far in this tournament.
See, Pandora's here for Zenbai as well, so he has a chance to pivot between Spatula and Pan, depending on what the game gives him. Ideally, I imagine he will be trying to go for some kind of a Golden Ox line with the Graves and potentially 6 Golden Ox later in the game.
We actually saw him put the component on his bench unit, reforge it because he has Pandora's items, and hopefully trying to get that Golden Ox. Did not quite get it that time.
Still has a couple more rounds to get there, very early in the game even still, but checking with Xiaozhu.
Xiaozhu 100 streaking up against Weijin, who did make the full pivot into the Cypher that we were talking about before. Finding the Cypher unit off the carousel, able to get 3 Cypher on. And it's what you were saying before, Sealy. You're playing the Spirit Link. You're able to get more value out of it the lower you go. And so Weijin Iverson, I think, playing very cleanly into the shape of the game that his augment wants him to have.
2 win streakers at the top of our lobby, Xiaozhu and Robin. The unstable treasure chest picked up from the support anvil is very, very strong, especially early in the game because you get a big item advantage as well as some stats from that, and having a great start with a bunch of 2-stars.
And this should pretty much 100% be Dynamo Flex. We see the IE for the MF, we see the Void Staff indicating the hybrid comp that he's trying to go for here. Unstable Treasure Chest on the Zac allows you to funnel a ton of extra items once that blob breaks up into your backliners. And you have many of them who you want to itemize with the Elise, the Aurora, and the MF. Of course, we are in stage 2, so a lot of other things have to happen before we get to that spot.
We're playing for Zac, right? Stage 2, I'm playing Zac.
If it's Robin, I wouldn't be too surprised.
He's just going to walk his way there.
That's right.
Slow walk.
Well, he can't go fast. So.
Easy win there for Robin. Xiaozhu as well, taking that win streak. Weijin and Kikornin down at the bottom of our standings, 4 and 5 loss streak, respectively.
I'd love to see what exactly the plan for Kikornin is, because we were talking a little bit about the too much value and how that often leads down the route of maybe going into the Cypher reroll. Of course, we know Weijin has a similar plan of playing along those Cypher units, and I am seeing a Rage Blade here on Kikornin's board.
Really strong item for the LeBlanc since the change to the Rage Blade. It's become it's a core item in the LeBlanc build. Weijin Iverson has already played 1 game of contested Cypher today, and I would hope he's not going to do it again. But I trust Weijin. Whoa! That is a lot of orbs.
And this rejuice might actually change Weijin's game plan altogether. I think with the open pan, the potential for a Reforger, and the Cypher online now, they don't want to play contested as you're mentioning, Gangly. He might be playing for a Boombot board, whereas Kikornin still has a chance to play either into Cypher reroll or save all those rolls for an Exo line with the Rage Blade built. Exo was his comfort comp in the day 1 and 2 outside of playing those reroll lines.
He also played a lot of Cypher, though, so I think Kikornin not too opposed to maybe also still go there, depending on what Weijin is doing. We're getting a little bit of a glimpse of our 200 HP players, and they're not going to be going up against each other, so it is about streak defending on the top and on the bottom of our lobby right now for all 4 players.
There's a strong board on the other side of Xiaozhu, though. The front line is not as powerful as his, but you have this ramping Kog'Maw too. But yeah, the front line is going to crumble for AQ1H, and so Xiaozhu is going to be able to maintain that streak.
And we see it on the other side of Robin's songs as well. The key item combo right now for AD Flex is that Rage Blade and that Kraken Fury, and now we have Prismatics.
Belt overflow for Weijin with a Boombot spot. This is the kind of game you're hoping for if you want to go first. No econ from his augments. There was a big rejuice from the Krug's PvE round itself. We'll see if he thinks that's going to be enough. Or maybe he wants to go for Tiniest Titan into a massive Cypher cash out instead. He's thinking about these 2 options.
He definitely has a lot to consider. Rolls away the belt overflow and says he wants to stay on that line. Tiniest Titan is going to be the ultimate choice, but we're getting more options coming in from our players here, and a lot of more generic board power, but somebody else picked up the belt overflow, and it is going to be Klikornen.
Another interesting augment picked up for Xiaozhu is playing around that bronze for life. We saw that in game number 1.
Right.
Fantastic. And he already has the setup for that, playing around Nitro. Currently has it on his board and has great items for Zeri.
Curious to see what this augment pickup from Weijin does to Klikornen's game plan. Klikornen, even if he wasn't scouting, he's seeing it now. They are facing up against each other here on the 3-2 round. And now Klikornen has to think, do I want to contest Cypher, potentially go 8th, but maybe also stop a very strong player like Weijin from having a win-out spot with Cypher of his own? Even if Weijin wins, just delaying the time at which he hits his 3 stars could be enough to stop him from going first.
Right, we are seeing the cash out there. And this is what I was saying before, having the tempo variation of the Cypher allows you to kind of bypass sacrificing all of your HP. You can play it alongside this kind of flexible, too much value board. You get 3 Cypher in, yeah, it's not as many stats as the 5 Cypher would be, but at this point in the game, Klikornen has the opportunity to play, not necessarily from ahead, but on cadence with the lobby, have a strong board in stage 3, and save a lot of HP.
Robin was not one of the players that picked up Spatula or Pan from the carousel yet. However, I see an emblem here, so he really is playing a little bit of Mordoc's favorite in this game, getting everything to make this comp strong.
And Bastion emblem did get changed to give a lot of AP when you put it onto a unit. And so for somebody like Morgana, obviously you get the resistances, but you also get a bunch of damage. It's kind of a damage item.
All those drops coming through are going to say a lot about who's going to be spiking later on in the game. We did see Weijin Iverson had both the pan and the spatula, and so taking the tiniest Titan there, maintaining a lot of HP, playing more for an econ-focused mid-game is going to say, hey, I have the tools to spike harder than anybody else in the lobby, but I need the resources to get me there.
And one player we haven't talked about since this augment choice is AQ1H, who has a spatula alongside Invested, which is one of the strongest ones in the game currently because it gives you a lot of gold, but also the rerolls you need to get to level 9, to roll down, possibly hit Urgot, and he has the opportunity for Boombot Spat, which we've seen be very powerful.
Would be a ballsy play from AQ1H to play for a win-out at 18 points, to play into a Boombot line that we've seen fail so much across the first 2 days of this tournament. Despite the strength of the comp itself, it came into the stats with a 5.12 AVP after the first 2 games. So really risky line from AQ1H, but he's taking it.
I love it. I think this is such a strong indicator from AQ1H saying, okay, listen, I might get check either way as long as I don't bottom 8, but I can deny technically everyone else. There is a world where only one player makes it onto check, and he is putting himself in a position where he is going to be able to possibly do that, depending on whether or not that Urgot does actually come around. We saw in the previous game how contested Boombots really are.
Well, it's both of them too. Klikornen and AQ1H are both on 18 points and are playing risky, high-capped lines. They're really looking to make a statement, but also either of them could go 8th and not make check.
I do think Klikornen with the Cypher line is not as risky because you stabilize once you roll down after your cash shot on 3-7, going to stage 4. You are maybe winning or losing some fights because you're low on HP, but you're rarely going 8th with Cypher reroll because you're going to win fights off of the 3 stars you have in stage 4, whereas Boombot is the kind of comp that if you mess up your roll down, if the boards you saw that are not fully locked in yet, you could just be going 8th, dying on 1 life.
I'm getting flashbacks. Game number 1, Robin Songs on a 9 win streak right now. We saw him go all the way up to a 12 win streak in game 1, then convert that into a first with Vanguard Marksman. This time around, playing around the Bastions. Vertical Bastion with the Dynamo backline is something that we see when we're playing around Morgana reroll. But because he got the emblem after already leveling, it's no longer a position in which he can reroll the Morgana. I cannot say I've actually seen a lot of the Bastion Dynamo tempo line. It's something that I'm not sure how comfortable Robin will be on it either.
I'm not sure about that, but what I'm sure about is that pick'ems have been made, and there is always the question of what is going to be the highest HP win. So something to look out for here. If maybe a player doesn't miss the 100.
You turned to look at me, and then he instantly lost.
All right.
Listen, I was just trying to remind
winning
people
a point for
that
Emiya. Thank you, makes on your service. Going back to your point, though, Gangly, I do think there is a line where you can play around 4 Bastion with a Dynamo front line with Sejuani, Renekton, Poppy for the Kabuko Cyber Boss, as well as having the Bastion emblem on Zac, for example.
Yep.
Or maybe not Zac because you'll have the treasure chest. You want Zac to pop and then have a fully itemized backline.
And we're watching Weijin here fully pivot his board to Vexotech. Able to hit Sejuani 2 here on 3-7 already. A great way to stabilize this front line. Did roll a lot of gold and will be hopefully completing a lot of his items, getting his other important upgrades, including a Vex 2.
A lot of moves are being made across the board. You can see on the right-hand side, players are rolling, digging, trying to find those units like the Cho'Gath there. Checking in with Xiaozhu. You know, we were talking about the Bronze for Life and what that game plan is going to be looking like. Does find the Misfortune 2 here. Frontline lacking, though.
From Weijin, I would say it's a move that I think lacks a little bit of aura. I think he's being punished and bullied out of the Cypher line by Clickthornin and out of the Boombot line by AQ1H. He identifies that he probably can't play for a Boombot winout with 12 points. He's now not getting full value from Tiniest Titan, having to cash out early and having to essentially play for a lower cap, while also playing a line that we've seen across this weekend. If you're not able to hit everything, Vex is not stable at 1-star in Stage 4.
Checking in with Zenbai here. This is our Graves player. Still a couple of copies away from the Graves, but pretty high on the Golden Ox already, and just made 40 on the back of it as well, as we are going to be moving towards our next augment, and this one could be really important for the players that currently find themselves in a tough spot.
Maybe Prismatic could have given Weijin a blue buff, but for now, he only has a Gunblade on the Vex. We saw from Setsuko on day 1. No blue buff on a Vex. He ended up going 8th playing Vexotech. Hopefully not the same spot for Weijin in this game.
Weijin in an okay spot. We're looking at Clickthornin now, who's on this 5-win streak, continuing to roll a little bit more to see if he can hit the rest of his board.
2 copies away from the LeBlanc. Couple more copies away from that Galleon, that Draven, that do enable the rest of the comp. We also saw Rolling for Days being picked up there by Zenbai, so really digging for that Graves now, trying to find a stabilization point. And Summertimer says, stabilization, I'll just take a Viego too.
We are missing quite a few pieces that, do make this composition come alive. In fact, I would even say that, Viego 2, of course, is powerful, but there's so much strength in 7 Exotech, especially when you're playing with the Randuin's Omen. There's so much power in giving the units that have high health additional defenses. And so Viego 2, yes, it's powerful. It's also 15 gold that could have been used to spend finding a Zeri 2, finding your Sejuani, playing around 7 Exotech, especially I believe that is climbed the ladder that he selected as well. So it's a bit against the grain as much as it does kind of feel like a high roll.
He's also gravely so missing that Mordekaiser too. So Mordekaiser 1 on the board just now, sits on a pair, at least gets a mod here. So the legendaries are there, the rest is not, and he will need to find it to make it happen. Checking in with Camberley, one of her players that is not going to be able to make check on this round here.
Did AQ1H just go 9? Is that what that was?
Yep.
Yeah.
Full roll down the invested gold.
Yeah.
He's trying to find his Boombot board. Looking at Weijin now, we're seeing no items onto this Vex, instead playing around 7 Exotech, understanding that he doesn't have the right items for the Vexotech instead.
We see the Bronze for Life board for Xiaozhu. We do have a lot of traits online, but not a lot of upgrades, and so not enough damage coming through there. We did hit so many upgrades here for Clickthornin. Having that other 2-star, 3-star across the board for your front line as well. Another 2 cost that really helps enable this too much value.
Yeah, this is exactly what Panda was saying before, right? When you're playing around Cypher, especially I would say when you're playing around the too much value, playing the tempo Cypher line in particular, you win so many fights on Stage 3 and Stage 4, it makes it very hard to go 8th. Clickthornin looks like he's absolutely going to be clearing that check threshold.
More importantly, no Urgot on this carousel, no Garen either. That could have helped some of these comps that we're looking for the Boombot units. Standby is also going to be denied on that Viego, as a lot of Viegos are starting to move out of the pool. It is going to be important for him to be able to clutch up that unit as well.
We can see on our scoreboard as well a little bit of an update about AQ1H and his roll down. He didn't hit much of anything.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of copies. He does have a Koboko 2, which is great, but no Urgot means this board can't reach 6 Boombot.
18 points. There's only one position that you have to avoid.
Ugh.
We've seen this happen again and again. We mentioned
Maybe we're
the
back.
Well,
risky play that AQ1H committed to the moment he locked into this Boombot line. It's a line that can very easily go 8th if you miss your roll down. And Weijin and Cambuli, if they can preserve HP here, if AQ1H faces someone like Klikornin, someone like Xiaoju, he could be in trouble.
and it is Urgot versus Urgot on the other side. Robin just enabling that Dynamo Bastion comp that he has built by the additional Urgot there to try and play around that. I do believe just from the eye check, AQ1H's board should be stronger here with the 6 Boombots in play.
Oh, the treasure chest did
Fun
fall
on Urgot
low.
is big.
The Urgot walks up. Enough damage to take out Robin. Robin's board looking a little spicy right now.
Very interesting. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Is he just missing Misfortune, actually? Is that what it was? Because we saw the Urgot with the AD items. He's just playing a Dynamo board and completely whiffed on his roll down, hitting the Misfortune. So he's stuck with a Dynamo board, but an Urgot in the back line.
And it's understandable. Well, we have Cambuli playing Dynamo Flex, who has a Misfortune 2. Xiaoju also has a Misfortune 2 playing Nitro Flex. So there are fewer and fewer of these Misfortunes left in the pool, despite it not really being the most contested of the 4 costs.
Garen did give Boombot mod, so much more power on AQ1H's board. Right before the carousel, he was not looking too hot, but now he is looking for a spot to possibly even win out this game if he's able to upgrade a few more units.
Speaking of upgrading units, on the other side is Standby, has found that Graves has been printing money as well. 1 copy off of the Senna 3 as well as the J4 3. And of course, with the early pickup from the Carousel, was able to get into the higher Golden Ox and actually stabilize on the Econ side. Not good enough to take down Summertime, unfortunately. He's going to be taking another loss here.
Really close fight. Zenbai, yeah, taking a lot of hits, but also you can see that bench extremely close to spiking. Senna 3 just 1 off, Jarvan 3 just 1 off. Now it's Treasure Armory time.
And we're seeing the Weijin, the repivot back into EXO working so well, 5 win streak, making it much harder for Summertimer, who was the EXO player from the very beginning with the Crown Guarded, going on to that Mordekaiser, is still on Zeri 1, is trying to find any way to stabilize.
Oh, there's a potential. Yeah, okay, I see. Weijin Iverson picks up the Lesser Champion Duplicator. He might have actually already had 1 on his bench, but he has 6 Varuses right now. So Weijin Iverson not only playing the vertical EXO, but now we said needs to find some sort of backdoor way of finding a higher cap. Varus 3 might just be that.
Robin, everyone taking nothing crazy as far as I can tell. We did have an artifact for Summertimer.
Cornin had the option for getting 3 duplicators in total from the Treasure Dragon, opted not to go for it, wants to hit a higher cap. I think he is safe enough with 40 gold to think he's going to hit all of his 3 stars naturally and wants to play for the win out, not because he needs it, but because he wants to deny some of the other players who may be in contention for it, like Weijin.
Yep.
The moment Weijin goes second, he is no longer going to be in check coming into Game 5.
Ooh, okay, Zenbai.
Wow.
Had a decision there to either roll down, try to find Senna 3, or level, ops to level, and AQ1H might have turned a corner here.
Garen 2, Urgot 2, that looks pretty good.
The level of defense being played by our 18-point players, Klikornin, I think, can assemble the full Cypher reroll board in AQ1H, risking it all for a Boombot board. Both players potentially going to finish first and second in this lobby, denying everyone else from accumulating points.
Weijin, though, has hit that Varus 3 that you were talking about, Nick. So a massive upgrade there as well. And it is going to come down to who actually is stronger. Those 3-star 3 costs can do so much, but it's not going to be enough against the full assembly of the boom boards. AQ1H still missing 2 of the Cho'Gaths to really make this guy an absolute raid boss. But other than that, this board is looking amazing.
Weijin did find Big Friend on the Treasure Dragon with Exotech. It's very, very good. No second Boombot mod for AQ1H is a big miss, though.
And I think Weijin, with the earlier catch on the pivot to EXO, kind of gave up on the idea of winning this game in slight manner. He could have pushed Chinese Titan for a massive cash out for a potential win out spot, but maybe opted to play the more safe, accumulate points, and then potentially get the check in that game 5.
Checking in with Xiao Chu, we were talking about how a lot of players in this lobby are looking for the Dynamo units truly, and you're seeing some examples of that right now. Misfortune 2 sitting on the bench there for him, well, on the board actually. And on the opposite side, we're seeing Summertimer, who wasn't able to actually find the upgrade into the Zeri, still able to find the Mordekaiser too, at least, so a lot of the value is still on that Viego that we saw early on, and he is going to be the one that will take out this Misfortune.
Oh, so close.
It's not going to be enough. 1 unit Aurora clutch up.
That fight was insane. The Viego with the Seeker's arm guard was going hog wild in the back line, just jumping time and time again. He even took the MF ult for quite a long time. Such a close fight.
Once again, though, we're seeing Memory Bank not prove to be very strong in this lobby. Cambouli down to 11 HP. He did proc it. He did get the Zhonya's Hourglass, but not the success he wanted.
And this is Cambouli again and again going into the same game plan where he's playing for high tempo and he's not being able to play for these win-out spots. He's only on 11 points. He needs to shift the game plan.
And it's even more heartbreaking because on 11 points, if you go 8th here, you make your life so much harder in the next round even still. Of course, you are going to be needing to look for those first places with other players in chat to try and avoid them from ending out the tournament. But Cambouli really hoping for every single individual placement here, as Summertimer is actually going to be eliminated on the back of the fight of Wasian's Assembly of Virus 3.
Cambouli wins, so he's guaranteed 7th. Cambouli, one of the lower point scorers. Honestly, at that point, you recognize I'm not going to be able to win, not going to be able to get myself too close, but every point matters.
Summertimer again and again seems to be on the losing end of the contests. Couldn't find the Zeri 2. Wasian pivots on stage 4 onto the full Exotech line. We see a lot of those Zeris being pulled out of the pool, and Summertimer, another 8th place. He needs to find, he just got 2 8ths in a row after having a great first 2 games. So the mental boom is still there. He needs to climb back up, not just in the points, but I think in his mental state coming into game 5.
And Zenbai is in a similar position too. He's had a 2nd place, but outside of that, 2 bot 3s, and now staring down another one here.
Both of our lowest HP players side by side here. You can see how many upgrades have been found on the side of Senbai, but everybody else just seems to have spiked harder than. And for Cambouli, we were already talking about how the Dynamo spot from a position that isn't a straight win streak just didn't look too good. Maybe positioning can clutch it out here for him. Would have really liked the upgrade on the Aurora too, but it is going to be about matchmaking, and someone will be eliminated here.
Take a look at this Grape. See if he actually makes his way into the back line right now. He's going to be able to break through that front line, and yeah, Cambouli's board seems to just be crumbling. But the Zhonya's does a lot. It's still a 10-3 in the back line though, and it's just the Aurora. You can see the frustration in Cambouli's face as he's going to be eliminated there. Zenbai holds on.
This is where Dynamo Flex is not quite cutting it in this day 3. Day 1 and 2. Just these 3 Americas players played double the Dynamo Flex games compared to all of the other players in this final lobby. For a day 3, I think Dynamo Flex is not going to be the comp you want to rely on to try and go for the wins.
That's not the only player that's eliminated there, if I saw correctly. Robin
right.
Also out in 6th. Unfortunately, also one of our lowest point players right now. So we'll need to have another great game to maybe reach that checkpoint and deny other players from ending the tournament in the upcoming round. But more players are still in it. However, with all of these eliminations coming in, an important update to our check, because both AQ, 1H, and Click are going to be on that check line for that very next game. All they need is 1 win to claim the title for themselves. That is now confirmed, and something we'll, of course, need to look out in the upcoming rounds, as watching over Senbai here.
And this Golden Ox board from Senbai is looking very, very scary. We're aiming at the 52 mark. We have that +1, so now we have 6 Golden Ox in. It's crazy.
Well, what's actually crazy is that I saw him play the 6 Golden Ox earlier in stage 3. And then what he decided to do was go down to 4. He's been playing 4 Golden Ox instead of 6 since stage 4, opting to say, listen, I'm going to take the increase of resources from stage 3 of playing 6 Golden Ox, but he recognizes the damage increase of 4 to 6 is not enough to justify it. Instead, he wants to go vertical into Divinicore and say, this is what's going to give more value to my Graves instead of playing 6 Golden Ox.
We're getting an overview of our top 4 players right now, a glimpse at all of their comms. None of the contest remains. We have the Golden Ox, we have the Boombots on the top right. We're seeing the Exotech in bottom left. Clickcorn, with that too much value reroll, has been starting to fall off a little. All of the other players on win streaks.
And there's 2 blocks of players left alive. Weijin, Zenbai, both on 12 points. They need a win to get into check. AQ1H, Clickcorn, both on 18 points. They're already in check. So it's a game of denial, a game of defense from Clickcorn and AQ1H, essentially almost playing as a team and trying to stop the other 2 players from winning the game to have less players potentially in check coming into game 5.
Zenbai on the left-hand side, fighting for survival. We've seen that the Golden Ox is maybe not strong enough to contend with some of the very upgraded boards just yet, but the Graves does survive here and serves a loss to AQ1H. Hangs in there with 1 HP. On the right-hand side, the story is folding a little bit differently as Clickcorn does get knocked out of this game number 4 for today. But like you mentioned, Panda is in check. No worries there.
We said Weijin might have been giving up on being able to go first because of the early cash out, the choice of taking Tiniest Titan. But what it's doing here is that he's actually been able to leverage the Varus 3 that he picked up from the 2 duplicators and be able to potentially go level 10. And he's just done. He's used all of his gold. He's gone 10. And now he's found his way. He's 40 HP above 3rd place, 35 over 2nd, and he might be able to get himself in check.
The problem is Zenbai and this Graves is absolutely crazy. We were able to hit the 56 mark on our Golden Ox, but is on the correct side for Weijin, able to dodge the Graves and be on the other side, giving Zeri enough time to ramp up. Hopefully, though, but this Graves has so much damage attached to it. That Radiant Sterex gauge is very powerful.
The Varus.
But the Varus cast will
stun.
be strong enough.
Whoa!
One more, one more ult. That's going to do it. Whoa, Zenbai falls there. So much burst damage coming in through the Golden Ox team. Made it look like that Cho'Gath wouldn't have enough time to scale up, but there's so much damage in the backline of Weijin Iverson that even when Graves broke through, Weijin's team could clean it up.
There is a fully capped Boombot board waiting, though, for this potential 1v1 with AQ1H, who didn't have to take this risk. He wanted to play defense. He wanted to try and go for the win to deny anyone else from hitting check alongside himself and Clickcorn, and we'll see if he can do it here in this next fight.
AQ1H still missing out on that last copy of Cho'Gath and sitting on the opposite side of the board, taunting him almost as Weijin tries to claim the win here to put himself onto check. It's all about whether or not that Varus is accessed early on. Is it going to be good enough, or does the CC come in from him before he's going to fall? Urgot does find him, and with that, there is a loss served to Weijin.
And this is one of those situations where we had a top 3 where one beat the other, and the other beat the other, and the other beat the other. But the problem here, Weijin's board has not beaten AQ1H. That was Zenbai's board.
Weijin is not really scaling. He's hit his last sprint, making it to level 10. That's really all he can play for on this board. There's a Garen on AQ1H's side. He's printing out mods, and I think a few more rounds. And there's still a Cho'Gath 2 upgrade to be hit.
Important to note, we do still have Aurora 1 on the side of Weijin Iverson, so we are nearing that cap. We certainly aren't there yet, but you called it out. Urgot 2.
Cho'Gath is found.
Cho'Gath is found.
Spike.
This is very hard because now Weijin wants to be able to ramp, but he's fighting a team that also wants to ramp and, to be honest, has more tools to do it efficiently.
Picked up his best shot at it there from the carousel, that Shojin, to try and get some more healing through that Hex Tech that's on his Vex. But I'm somehow doubting that that is going to be enough. However, AQ1H, all it takes is for him to lose one round for Weijin to get him down and get that self in check. Can the Varus do it? Is it good enough? Does the heal from the Hex Tech help? But the answer is no, as the entire board implodes and Weijin loses one more round, putting him on last life.
There's not even a chance for fight RNG to go in favor of Weijin. There's no backline access whatsoever that can scam a fight, killing off the Urgot early. There's Sejuani on the wrong side there as well.
Yeah.
It's really only the Varus and his stuns that's the only RNG that can go in Weijin's favor. But all in all, I think AQ1H has yet again played a marvelous game of TFT, risking it where he did not need to, just to try and find a better chance of winning the entire tournament in Game 5.
Some of it might also be the mental aspect of saying, I can do it, and I'm going to show you right now. I don't need to, but I can if I want to. And he does just that as he plays one exceptional game of TFT after another. One more round between Weijin and AQ1H to manifest that.
We see all the damage on the left side for Weijin, hoping to reach that Urgot as quickly as possible, but the front line is so strong for AQ1H.
Tumbling.
That shield from the Koboko is so strong, and once again, AQ1H takes his second straight game in a row.
Sends a message to